Bire mazak wura nogong. Morawia kopmanoro tiji ningai.
We are one Guyana, a place of peace, a place of love. We are one Guyana, it's paradise, it's our world. A place of love. We are one Guyana. It's paradise, it's our world.
Yeah, some are we born on the hills, some on the low coastal plains. Plenty rice and sugar cane. Same Guyanese blood in our vein. So make we burn out the hatred, time for erasing. Can't make that destroy. 6 races I share the same space in this 83,000 square miles.
We are one Guyana, a place of peace, a place of love. We are one Guyana, it's paradise, it's our world.
Brother is a brother, no matter which religion is you. Could a Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Hindu. Sister is a sister, real and true. One.
Good evening, fellow Guyanese. Today I just want to spend a few moments addressing some of the issues, the policies and the programs that Budget 2022 will address and cater for. As you're aware, Budget 2022 will continue along the trajectory set out by our manifesto, addressing the socio-economic transformation of Guyana and building our one Guyana stronger and more secure. The policies and programs in Budget 2022 would be people-centered and people-driven, focusing on policies and programs that will continue the transformation of our country and expand and improve the delivery of services. Our focus would be economic expansion, increased productivity, enhanced competitiveness, a stable macroeconomic fundamentals, capacity building, and supporting a stronger private sector. Before I go into some of the specific policies and the policy agenda of Budget 2022, I want to say that when we assumed office in 2021, our immediate task was to restore the economy, was to address job loss, was to address the negative image of Guyana, was to address the confidence level in the investment climate in Guyana. I'm very pleased to say that we have been able to address all these issues and place Guyana now in a stable environment in which international investors, the sophisticated investors, and the local private sector are once again actively seeking out opportunities in our country. We have been able to put our agricultural sector, our mining sector, our forestry sector on a forward-looking trajectory, one in which we have restored hope, one in which we have restored functionality and profitability. And functionality is important if we are to address issues that surrounds the various sectors. We have been able to make the point, not only through narrative, but through concrete measures, that Guyana is not only about oil and gas, but that the sustainable development of our country and our economy requires investment in every single sector. And we have been working on creating the conducive framework through policies and programs, through incentive mechanisms, to ensure that these sectors project a forward-looking, profitable, and sectors that can attract investment. The policy agenda and measures in Budget 2022 will be aimed and geared towards increasing disposable income, and this is critical. We must have more disposable income available to the population. So in Budget 2022, I've asked the Minister of Finance to include specific measures that will be geared at enhancing and improving your disposable income, ensuring that there is more money available to families, more money available in the economy. Whilst we improve the disposable income, I've also advised that we must maintain a low-tax environment. And this was a critical component of our manifesto, ensuring not only we remove all those burdensome taxes that was placed there on the backs of Guyanese by the APNU-AFC government, but more importantly, creating a robust economic environment, but a robust environment that does not require increases in taxes or increases in tax burden upon the people of our country. Budget 2022 is geared towards economic growth and expansion without bringing new tax burdens or hardship on the people of Guyana. Budget 22 will be aimed at expanding and creating job opportunities, ensuring that we lay the foundation for a better healthcare system and educational services. Importantly, greater and more enhanced public-private partnerships and support to the vulnerable, especially our children, women, and the elderly. We have made specific commitment as it relates to healthcare, education, children, women, and the elderly. And all those commitments in the manifesto will be realized. Budget 2022 will continue to point in incremental realization of these promises we made. Improvement in the disposable income for the old age pensioners, more resources for children, more opportunities for women, better health care and educational services, and an expanded scholarship program. Budget 2022 will also see tremendous aggression in the advancement of the public sector investment program. The PSIP, the Public Sector Investment Program, is integral to the transformation of our country. Investment in key infrastructure, enhancing infrastructure, is key to the improvement of living conditions and livelihood of the Guyanese people. And Budget 2022 will see a comprehensive and aggressive framework in terms of our public sector investment program. These investments are in keeping with the transformative agenda outlined in our manifesto. We spoke about many of these needed investments, whether it's the road to Letem, important bridges, expansion of highways, building of new highways, opening up of new road link along the hinterland and riverine communities, creating more direct access for our miners, reducing the cost of transportation, These are the issues that will be addressed through the investment in the PSIP. In order to not only improve, but make health and educational services more accessible and available, Budget 2022 will set aside a framework and resources that would look at expansion, massive expansion of our healthcare system and our educational system. Resources will be set aside to ensure the commencement of a program that will see 90% of our population along the coast having access to treated water. 90% of our population. This is even beyond what we would have promised in the manifesto. But we are setting aside these resources to commence this program because it is essential to the improvement of livelihood, improvement in our living standards. So you will see tremendous investment to achieve 90% coverage of treated water along our coastline. Whilst we will be doing this, we are also well on our way through investments that will be made in Budget 2022 to achieve the reduction in our energy costs and electricity by 50% by the time we get up to 2025. A reduction of 50%, that is the target we're going after. This will bring more disposable income in your pocket. This will create a more conducive environment for the manufacturing sector, the industrial sector. This will bring more jobs. It will bring more industries, more companies, and will expand the Guyanese economy. Along with this, we'll be investing heavily in the hinterland and riverine communities to ensure every community will have access to potable water. So hinterland and riverine communities will also see tremendous investment, not only for potable water, but for educational services, ICT services, internet services, connectivity, because we have to invest more, and Budget 2022 will project that framework to integrate more the population from the hinterland and riverine community with the rest of Guyana. So this is another important aspect of Budget 2022. Aggressive steps through financing will be taken in Budget 2022 in the construction of many new roads, highways, bridges, and other key infrastructure to catalyze growth and development. These are strategic infrastructure, transformative infrastructure of high priority and great magnitude that Budget 2022 will be addressed. This is the year that will inject the fuel that would lead to the transformation we want to achieve. And Budget 2022 will inject that fuel to catalyze the growth in an aggressive and forward-looking manner. At the same time, we will be investing heavily in healthcare to meet the promise of bringing world-class healthcare service to every citizen in our country. World-class healthcare to every single citizen in our country. Food security and expansion of agriculture is another key area through which government will support and partner with farmers and stakeholder groups in making our agriculture sector competitive, productive, and an integral part in the region's food supply system. It is not only about building the farm-to-market access roads and improving more access to lands and enhancing productivity and yield. All of those are things Budget 2022 will address. I've asked specifically for it to address. But sitting as the chair of the CARICOM Agricultural Initiative, where we are trying to achieve 25% less import by 2025, requires Guyana to take an aggressive step towards not only fulfilling our national food requirement, but enhancing our productivity to meet the regional needs. So we are working aggressively on removing the barriers and building the capacity to be the main food supplier in the region. And Budget 2022 will outline specific measures through which we'll support our fisher folks, through which we'll support our rice farmers, through which we'll support our aquaculture farmers, through which we'll support our cash crop farmers. We will have specific initiatives aimed at supporting farming and agriculture and food production in our country. Agro-processing. We will be setting aside resources to have public-private partnerships, to have partnership with communities and stakeholder groups in enhancing food production. All of this I've asked to be in Budget 2022. Housing continues to be a key pillar through which we'll improve livelihood and enhance personal equity. Tremendous investments will therefore be made in expanding new infrastructure to meet the target of 50,000 house lots set aside in our manifesto. We'll also be investing heavily in industrial and manufacturing development to ensure that we create sustainable communities in which there is a match between community development and economic expansion and opportunities. Social services and security are also key components of these sustainable communities we want to create. So it's not only about creation of house lots and building of homes. We are also on a planning trajectory that incorporates industrial development, manufacturing, job creation, and job-creating initiatives to support sustainable livelihood in the communities. To support sustainable communities, we'll also be investing in security systems, proper health and educational services, water services, to ensure our people, the people of Guyana, enjoys the best quality of life in the fastest possible time frame. This will also be supported with robust investment in our social sectors I mentioned, health and education, recreation and sport facilities. All of this will improve the quality of life within communities. Budget 2022 will ensure children get more. Yes, I've instructed that specific measures be in the budget to enhance the welfare and well-being of children, so children will get more. We'll set aside greater support to the elderly. We'll accelerate our scholarship program. We'll support the vulnerable, create room for direct medical support for our population, and enhance investments in the security sector through the use of technology and capacity building, whilst at the same time fulfilling our promise of better working conditions, welfare, and equipment for our men and women in the joint services. The oil and gas sector is no doubt one of the catalytic sectors in our country. The oil and gas sector is key to the transformation of our country. Very key. So Budget 2022 will set aside resources for development and expansion of opportunities for locals through the implementation of the Local Content Act in order to create more job opportunities, investment opportunities, wealth creation, training and education, and integrating our oil and gas strategy with our National Development Plan, which is sustainable in nature. There must be a match. And we have made it very clear that revenues from the oil and gas sector must be used to make the other sectors more competitive, must be able and must be utilized in a way to expand the economic framework of our country, to improve our competitiveness, to enhance our sustainability, to build an economy that is standing on many different legs, that can withstand global shocks, that can weather storms when they come, These are the issues that Budget 2022 will address directly. Specific measures will be announced to boost the construction sector, enhance our efficiencies, and create an enabling environment in which Guyanese can more easily acquire assets, equipment, and machinery to boost their business. I am aware of the impact that cost of living is having. While we cannot address all the issues surrounding cost of living, I've instructed that resources be set aside to address this issue. Though this is a global issue, and much of it is imported, as the world is experiencing a 30-year high in inflation rates due to soaring food costs. Notwithstanding all of this, this government has a commitment to do all it can within its budgetary constraint and framework to help the population of this country. Therefore, I've asked the Minister of Finance to set aside a sizable allocation to address issues of cost of living. And this sizable allocation will be used through consultation with communities across the country to identify specific ways and initiatives in which we can deploy this budgeted allocation to ease the burden on the population. The budget is about removing burdens. Budget 2022 is about creating opportunities, reducing burdens, enhancing welfare, giving back more to the population, enhancing livelihood, improving living conditions, and improving the quality of life of the Guyanese people. This is what Budget 2022 will address in a holistic manner. Building a stronger Guyana, building one Guyana, enhancing the policy framework for us to achieve the agenda we set out in the manifesto. Resources will also be set aside to build specific entrepreneurial programs, reward innovations, and expand our tourism through support for the private sector, enhance local and international branding, training and development, small business support, and collaborating with major international chains who are investing to integrate closer with our local production system. These are some of what you can expect in Budget 2022. More investment in people, more allocation to the vulnerable, better quality of life for the Guyanese people. Importantly, in addressing our competitiveness and in keeping with our commitment in the local content legislation, we will seek to reduce any disparities that exist in a tax system that can undermine the competitiveness of local companies competing with foreign companies for business in the oil and gas sector under the local content framework. I want to repeat that. We will seek to reduce any disparities that exist in a tax system that can undermine the competitiveness of local companies competing with foreign companies. In my meetings with various stakeholders, especially the locals in the oil and gas sector, they raised this very issue. For example, with VAT on Tier 1 contractor and supplier from Exxon. So not only that issue we're dealing with, we'll be seeking to reduce any disparities. This is the type of support that we are bringing to the local private sector, to Guyanese, through measures in Budget 2022. Importantly, in boosting our construction sector, because our construction sector is key to the fulfillment of all that is captured in Budget 2022. We'll be giving some generous incentives to this sector. We'll be addressing the issue of the withholding tax on contractors that was imposed by the APNU-AFC government. That all contractors and local participants in the construction sector would have raised with us that it inflicts great pain on their cash flow system. Budget 2022 will address the issue of this withholding tax. Budget 2022 will address the issue of cranes and other specialized equipment that is needed in the oil and gas sector and the construction sector that attracts duties and other taxes. Budget 2022 will address these with measures that would ease any hardship or burden and improve or increase the capability and capacity for local contractors to invest in the necessary tools that is required for the construction industry. We have heard many farmers, miners, the small miners, the small contractors, young people speaking about the taxes on vehicles. And Budget 2022 will address specifically taxes on double cab open backs, the double cab pickups that are now critical to the development of our country and many industries. Budget 2022 will make specific announcement and measures on that. Trucks. We want to make it easier for persons to own and operate more modern trucks that come with more axle so it can have less burden on the roadways and have longer life cycle. So Budget 2022 will address specifically new trucks or trucks less than 4 years old. Specific initiatives will be announced geared towards new trucks or trucks less than 4 years old. In addition to this, as I said earlier, a specific sizable allocation will be made to address the issue of cost of living. We'll continue to implement measures to reduce the cost of fuel. We'll extend measures to address the issues of the cost of freight. Specific measures will be announced that will reduce the cost of borrowing for home ownership. Specific measures to address and support our school children, to support the elderly, supporting the vulnerable, supporting dialysis patients. Whilst all of this will be catered for in Budget 2022, I've also advised the Minister of Finance to look at the personal income tax of taxpayers and to make necessary adjustment in keeping with the budgetary framework and the affordability of the country at this moment. As I said, the measures will continue to be incremental, but I assure all the targets we set out in the manifesto are well on their way to be achieved. We'll also address issues of the cost of medical and life insurance and to find ways. I've asked the minister to address this in a specific measure, to find ways in which there can be a netting off so that more people can have less costly and affordable medical and life insurance, whilst at the same time allowing for measures to incentivize savings in the banking system. Among all of this, notwithstanding what is happening globally, notwithstanding the rising in inflation globally, the empty shelves, the increase in fuel costs, the imported inflation, I have made it very clear to the Minister of Finance that we will not in any way introduce any new burden or taxes on the Guyanese people. And we will make the investment to ensure that we keep the cost of energy and fuel stable, essential and important to the development of our country. The investments will be made to ensure we have our own oil and gas institute and also our institute, our hospitality institute, so that we can train our Guyanese. But whilst we are building this out, the government will be supporting the training of thousands of Guyanese in every area that the economy requires. Fellow Guyanese, as your president, I stand once again on the eve of Budget 2022 to reaffirm our commitment in building a stronger, unified Guyana, in which all of us as Guyanese will have a better quality of life and a better chance of enhancing our welfare. May God bless you and continue to be safe, all of you. Thank you.